What is up everyone, I'm Skratch, welcome to the channel. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Hope you guys are doing well. There is a thing that I actually haven't noticed in the game because I never used any of these champions in the Hydra clan boss. Now we had a Raid Digest on Friday where Plarium released some information which will be game changing for Hydra clan boss because you can actually use this strategy to make the Hydra clan boss to completely ignore the entire mechanic of devouring champions, which is actually pretty crazy. Let me just quickly show you exactly what I'm talking about. So if we're gonna head over to the Raid Digest, we have Taunt buff versus Hydra. Some players wonder if it is normal that the Taunt buff prevents Hydra from devouring champions. Yes, it is a viable strategy. When a champion in the player's team is under Taunt buff, Hydra cannot target anyone apart from the taunting champion. If that champion under Taunt doesn't have a devouring mark, then the devouring won't happen until the buff is gone. So if the devouring mark is on somebody else, they are relatively safe from the Hydra's embrace. This is actually something that I haven't realized. I'm not sure how many of you guys did, but I never really used a taunt champion in the Hydra clan boss. Now we do have a couple that are decent. Initially we only had Ruark, which I personally don't have as a taunt champion. Then, of course, we had Duedan the Runic, who can actually be a pretty good mischief target too because of all the buffs, you know. So he was always on the list as a decent mischief target. I like the A1 with a chance of removing a random debuff. So think about a Doom Priest, right? But instead of a passive, having this on a basic skill and not being 100% chance, basically. And right here, you're getting a shield on all your team and increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. So he was always on the radar as a pretty good mischief target, right? But I never really looked at him as a taunt champion for Hydra, you know what I mean? Since then, we got released another champion that can actually put a taunt, and that's an epic champion. Now, Duedan is the best champion for this particular role because that is on a 3-turn cooldown. So, for example, if we're gonna have a look at the High Elves champions, right? We have Ambassador Latlin. So he was part of a fusion, and basically this is on a 4-turn cooldown, but he's placing this taunt on an ally. So you can actually target whatever champion you wanna have the taunt. So you can make it a bit different and ensure that the champion that's about to get devoured will never have the taunt basically, and you're moving it around to different champions. But that can be quite a bit of work, and this is a longer cooldown, so it's gonna be harder for you to keep the taunt constantly on your champions. Of course, we have a Amic Trun card, which was an older fusion, and basically he can taunt, put unkillable, and do other things. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how you can utilize this to your own advantage. It's definitely a game-changing thing, honestly, because it allows you, if you have your champion fast enough, maybe on a reflex set, to constantly have the taunt on him. So this is the team that we're running right here. This is brutal difficulty. We're not going to do an entire run, guys, because I'm not planning to save the key or anything like that. I'm not planning to just generally showcase the team. What I'm trying to show you is how taunt can actually help you in Hydra. Now, there are a lot of different scenarios that can happen during a Hydra fight. You know, it's a lot of RNG. You have the Head of Decay, which can actually cleanse somebody, put the life barrier on, and that Hydra head might be the next one to devour your champion. You can delay that by using taunt and have a different Hydra head to devour your champion. So you don't have to worry about the life barrier being on the Head of Suffering, who has this skill on cooldown and he's about to take the extra turn and make you lose the champion, you know? So you have a bit of control on who will devour your champion. Then, of course, let's just say your Reviver is about to get devoured, okay? So these are just examples. It's gonna be extremely hard to put them in practice because I need the RNG to happen, and honestly, it's definitely not something that we can make it. We can create without trying probably 1,000 times in here. But the whole idea is that taunt actually has some sort of use in Hydra, and it's great to have it, you know. On top of it, if you have a champion like Amic Trun who has it on a 2-turn cooldown on himself, you could potentially constantly keep the taunt on your champion on a reflex set, make him faster, have increased speed on your team, and like that you're always gonna have the taunt buff on, and that can be pretty interesting, you know. So we're gonna try to take down the head of a Decay here because I don't have a very reliable provoker. So I do have him on a provoke set, and I like that he counterattacks. So if I would provoke the head of a Decay with a different champion, which I'm going to attempt to do with Husk, hopefully it's going to happen, the head of Decay will be forced to target the champion with Taunt. And my champion on Taunt, Duedan, has a provoke set. And he has a counterattack. And he's going to counterattack and have a chance to land the provoke again, you know? So that's kind of like the way I'm playing the game. Hopefully it's gonna work. It's not the most reliable source of provoke, of course, because you have better provoke champions. But you know what? It's something to work. So keep an eye. You see, a very good mischief target. He cleanses when he's using the A1. I mean, there's a chance for that to happen. And the head of Decay right now, you see, targeted Duedan. Duedan counterattack. Unfortunately, the provoke set didn't proc on him this time around, but that's fine. We're not giving up. Then when we are using the A2 on him, we can extend the duration of buffs, you know, increase the duration of buffs here. So let's go A1. I was gonna say we can potentially use the A2 on Newt in this team because it's literally no danger of making him the mischief target no matter what. But you know what? We're gonna wait with that a bit longer. So right now, we do that. We haven't landed the provoke, unfortunately, but we increase the duration of buffs on our team. So we have the Veil for longer, and we're just generally a bit safer. Can we land the provoke now, please? Husk, don't let me down. That's why I like Husk, man. Like, I was just looking which one of my Husks has gear, because I have like 4 or 5 of them at 60. That's how much I used to love Husk to run him in Hydra before the Clash, when I didn't really have to create any crazy teams. And yeah, good to know that he's reliable to do the job, you know. So if I would have had a reflex, I would have had this skill available most probably, and I wouldn't use the A2 that often, you know. And again, the head of Decay would have targeted him again to have that provoke on, you know. It would have gave me another chance to land the provoke basically on him. So let's try to do this again. So how I mentioned, there are different scenarios. I think I stopped at the part with the Reviver. Let's just say we have the head of Rat on here. For whatever reason, Hydra is about to devour our Reviver. The other champions are low on HP, and you can delay that as well. You can delay the whole devouring part by having the champion buff with Taunt, and allow you to heal the rest of your team, allow you to basically recover and put your team back on track without getting out of the harm's way, basically, you know. So it's definitely a pretty interesting way. Now, the main thing that I really, really hope for, I'll be honest, is to get some better Taunt champions. We landed the provoke with Duedan in here, awesome stuff. So if we would get some better Taunt champions, sorry, not provoke, it would be amazing. Imagine getting a Taunt and a provoker on the same skill. That would be amazing, you know, something that really brings some awesome value to this, because you can provoke the head of Decay, have a nice provoker in here, and Taunt at the same time, you know, which will be very beneficial. So we're actually gonna target the head of Suffering here, because that gives me the best damage. 1.2 million. The Hex deals a pretty good damage as well when we have it on, of course. So right now, that head is provoked. We can put a Taunt. He's gonna... Okay, he actually didn't use the A1 on him. Seems like he went for Husk. Maybe because he didn't land the provoke either. So that's a bit strange. I thought that will constantly go on the Taunt champion, but seems like it's not. So scrap that idea from the beginning, guys. We're still testing it. I haven't really used a lot of Taunt in my Hydra teams, but it just seemed like before all the RNG was constantly dropping on him. So I thought that maybe it's not RNG, maybe it's something intended. So Taunt as a buff that forces the Hydra heads to target you when they have the basic skill available is now working. So it's not really bringing that sort of value to the fight, unfortunately. But having provoke and Taunt on a champion, hopefully in the future, will actually be pretty nice. You know, would definitely help quite a bit. So it's not gonna be a bad thing to have. The Head of Rat is on. But I feel like we're gonna... Oh, we haven't got down the Head of Suffering. We're so close. Look at that. Like, they had no HP left. The HP burn tick was not enough. So our champion is about to get devoured in 9 turns. I'm gonna wait till we get to that part just to kind of like show you basically everything that's about to happen. Let's kill these heads from there because they are just there to annoy us basically. So we put the block buffs, very solid, and slowly let's just... Oh, actually I targeted the wrong affinity. Supposed to go on the force one, get some damage, and it doesn't matter who we're attacking now. We cannot land provoke on nobody basically. Let's put some poisons if we can. Get some damage from there. And again, hit this one. No provoke. Nobody to be provoked in here. 8 more turns. I gotta keep an eye on that to make sure I can use the taunt at the right moment, you know. Not to use it before or anything like that, because that would be a bit... What have you done, Skratch? What have you done? Well, I feel like out of the ones that we have at the moment, he might be the best. The most viable option. And I'm gonna save the A3. I want to land a Hex with Venus, man. Like, I have no Hex on anybody. Venus, what are you doing? What are you doing? No point to use the taunt, because look, the Head of Rat is AoE. The Head of Suffering is AoE. The other ones are not out at the moment. I have no Head of Mischief to tank for, basically, you know. So I'm just gonna go with the A1 and no debuffs to remove basically from nobody either. So that's a bit of a shame, man. We cannot land the Hex because we have no AoE from Venus. And I really want to use the A3 before the other heads are spawning, just to basically spread some of the damage, you know. Okay. We're not gonna take enough turns to keep the team up and running like this, if no. So we're gonna put this on. At least we got decreased speed on some of them. Okay. Let's smack this one a bit. 8 minutes in, and I'm just gonna go. Hex is gonna do some job in there. Beautiful, you see. So that's actually pretty good damage from the Hex. Newt is amazing for Hydra. If you have a Hexer with you, is absolutely insane because he has a triple hit, enemy max HP, and if you're constantly looking for the Head of Suffering and to spread damage with a Hex on the rest, is actually very beneficial. So we're back to play with the Head of Decay. Let's land some cheeky provokes in here. Okay, we landed a provoke, and 6 more turns till he is getting devoured. I could potentially just use the taunt now, and I'm gonna do it. There we go. Let's put the defense down, just in case if he's gonna get hit. You know, like the veil mechanic is getting completely ignored by the Hydra, and it feels like the actual mechanic of the taunt is getting ignored as well, you know. Let's just see again. So that definitely looked like some weird RNG to me before, you know. And let's just go on you here. Let me just smack you a couple of times. Do that. Okay, Head of Decay. Are you gonna attack Duedan or no? No, because we have the taunt. No, you're not. So yeah, taunt as a mechanic is completely getting ignored, unfortunately. Okay, so let's try to land another provoke in there. I don't know, at the beginning it really looked like the taunt was not getting ignored because the Head of Decay randomly targeted the head with the taunt buff on, you know. So I thought that, okay, finally they made a mechanic that actually works in here too, but I guess it doesn't work for any of the bosses, you know. Hydra included on the actual list. So 2 more turns before we are getting devoured. 1 and 2. So again, maybe I won't have it available, unfortunately. I won't have it available to put it up in time. Maybe, let's see. Okay, 1. Head of Rat, don't you do it. Decrease speed. Chill there a little bit longer, please. Okay, use that. It's pretty fast, the Head of Rat, so I might not be able to... Okay, he got devoured. Unfortunately, my A3 was not available on time. Look at that. Look at the irony. Literally straight after he got devoured, But right now, my Duchess is about to get devoured. So this right here would be the perfect scenario. Let's just imagine that this, on Duchess, the 19 turns, will be the 1 turn left or something. Duodan was about to take his turn. The rest of my champions are pretty low, you know, and we have the Head of Rat in there, maybe with no decrease attack or something like that, and he's about to hammer my team. And if my Reviver gets devoured and the Head of Rat kills the rest, end of the game, right? We cannot take the Reviver back. But with the Taunt, we can delay that, you know, we can delay that, and maybe that will allow us to recover, you know, to recoup the team, take them out of the harm's way, and then we're basically gonna be like, hey, we're safe now, so it's no point to bother with the Taunt. Let my Reviver get devoured. I can actually save my Reviver quick now, you know, so I'm spot on with that. Just as an idea. And how I mentioned, a lot of the times it's happening when you're using you're getting devoured, sorry, and the Head of Suffering, for example, will have the shield from the Head of Decay, how I mentioned at the beginning, the life barrier, and is annoying, you know, so you want to avoid that head to devour your champion. It happened to me so many times. I'm sure it happened to a lot of you guys as well. If you paid attention, if you are familiar with the heads as well, because I know a lot of you guys do Hydra, but you're not really into learning all the skills from the bosses, so you're just using the team on auto, and whatever happens, you know. But as an idea for whoever is more familiar with it, you know, it's definitely pretty annoying when it happens. Like, for example, right now, somebody's about to get that on. He's about to use this on the Head of Blight. Let's just say the Head of Blight would devour my champion right now, because that's on a 1 turn. So the Taunt would stop that from happening, and instead, another head will devour my champion, you know. So that's gonna be pretty helpful. Now, this is all done, guys. I'm not gonna continue the run. It's easy to get to the 1 key. Definitely not a problem. I just kind of like wanted to show you. I could actually, you know what? Let's just go till we get to the 14 turns. I'm definitely gonna make sure I have that Taunt available, and I'm supposed to use it now just to have the Head of Mischief target Duodan. But you know what? We're gonna let him create a bit of a bad RNG in here, you know, because so far everything's too under control, you know, like we have everything spot on, so it's hard for all of these scenarios to happen when we're keeping everybody under control, basically, you know. So I could use this right now. It's a bit late with the Head of Mischief, but that's fine. Let's put some hacks around, hopefully. You see, again, we got the counter attack from the Head of Mischief to him, seems like it, because he had a counter attack, which is fine. So seems like it. What I've noticed, because I was curious on the initial part, why is that happening? So 2 times we actually touched the Head of Mischief. He has the counter attack buff, and it seems like when he counter attacks, he's only allowed to hit the head with the Taunt. I'm gonna do it again because it happened twice. Let's just see the 3rd time. So you guys see what I'm talking about? Have you seen what I'm talking about? Basically, when they counterattack, if they're single hit targets, they can only do it on the heads with the Taunt. And at the same time, they ignore the Taunt as a buff when they don't have the counterattack buff on. So that's so weird, man. Plarium and their coding is mind-blowing sometimes. So basically, the bosses ignore the Taunt as a buff, but then when they counterattack, they don't ignore it anymore. All of a sudden, they decided that, okay, the Taunt is there, I can only target that specific hero. Pretty weird, right? I definitely find that weird. Okay, so let's do that. Unfortunately, now we cannot provoke the Head of Decay, but it doesn't matter because we're about to kill it. We're about to kill it. Take it down slowly. Has the block debuff, so that's going to be a bit of a problem, you know? A bit of a problem. I don't want to use the Taunt just yet because I want to save it for when my Duchess is getting devoured to show you exactly what I'm talking about, you know? Because at the beginning, I forgot to keep it spot on, you know? make sure I have it available. And I used it like literally one turn before. That was a bit annoying. Okay, we can revive now. And you see, my Duchess is on a 7 turn cooldown to get devoured. My champions are pretty weak, so we might almost be able to recreate something in here, guys. So all this work was not in vain. 16 minutes of farming Hydra, you know, was not in vain. Okay, clans. Damn, that's a lot of bad RNG right there. If that's not bad RNG, I don't know what else is. And we lost our Gallic, okay. And my revive right now is on a 3-turn cooldown. We might not even be able to basically recover. But now my Duchess is about to get devoured either by the Head of Mischief, either by the Head of Blight. Judging that the Head of Blight just buffed, I would expect that he's the one going after the Head of Mischief, so he's going to try to devour my Duchess. But I'm gonna put a taunt on, so that's not going to happen. And slowly, maybe recover, you know, maybe recover, do a bit of damage here and there. Get a revive. Okay. So let's see. It's the taunt. Duchess 1 turn. Uses the AoE. And again, nobody can get my Duchess as long as I have the taunt, you see. Even the other head, the Head of Decay, tried to do it, but he couldn't because of that. So right now, my run will actually end here exactly how I portrayed it, you know, as the bad RNG. Seems like that's exactly what is happening. We're gonna kill one of the 2 heads if we can, and there we go. Because we lost the taunt. If we would have had the taunt, the Head of Mischief as well, it was gonna cycle another time and just attack, not devoured. But the taunt is only for 1 turn. We do it, and that's kind of like the main issue. But we got to the 1 key, which is fine. I managed to finally show you that at the end, how all of the heads are skipping the part of devouring. So that's pretty good. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think taunt will help your team, knowing that you can actually dodge that, can reduce the RNG if you were using any of the Taunt Champions? We do have another one that I kind of like forgot to point out, which probably could be a very solid option if you pull the R base. I think that is on the other form though. Yeah, putting the taunt for 2 turns, but this is on a 4-turn cooldown as well. You're getting the stone skin, and this is a good support, you know. You're getting AoE HP burn while you're getting on the A1. Continuous heals, which might mess you up a bit. The decreased speed will be very nice, and she might be, together with Amic, the best. You're getting the cleanse, revive on that, increase attack, increase accuracy, turn meter. So yeah, she's a very solid option as a taunt hero for Hydra. Very fast on a reflex set, you know, to try and have that part on to keep it up and running most of the times, and you can do some serious work. Now, maybe I haven't had the best examples of showing you how taunt works because of the champions that I have available, the champion that I decided to use, but I feel like Duedan, for the majority of people, will bring the best utility all around. The RNG was not necessarily on our side with everything to kind of like put it out there, highlight the taunt in a much better way, you know. But it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Appreciate every single one of you watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.